Leanne. Thanks, Leanne Guerin. Stay with the latest global news. Now, it's time for our weekly deep dive into UK property. For more, here's Sandra Kilhoff with Property Portfolio. Now, Sandra, good morning to you. Now, this week you're talking about cladding. That's a word that I think rings a lot of bells with a lot of our listeners. The concerns, of course, surrounding what followed the Grenfell fire.
Roger, because since that fire safety inspections have been put in place across the UK. They've uncovered hundreds of blocks of flats in England and in Wales with faulty or missing fire prevention measures. And what does this mean for flat owners? Well, it means that anyone affected is actually seeing a surge in the price of insurance and service charges. So for more, I am very pleased to be joined by Marianne Bowring, Group Managing Director at Ringley, which manages about 12,000 properties across London and Manchester. Good morning, Marianne.
Good morning.
I think, first off, we can all agree this is a super important issue. We have to identify all the dangerous cladding in the UK. Can you just tell me briefly how the current investigations are affecting flat owners?
As well as you said, the other problem, of course, is that mortgage companies are treating borrowers as extra risk. So either they can't sell because they're getting zero values on their property, or they're actually being charged rents and interest rates on their mortgage until facts become known. So as well as everything you said, the anxiety and financial burden of rising insurance, wait and watch, more expensive mortgages, is all falling on the innocent people, really, who've spent several £100,000 doing what the government told them and buying their own home. It's not a good situation at all. The investigations are generally ongoing. According to the ACM Cladding Fund, they've got about half of the applications they expected to get in by now, and that's mostly just due to a shortage of experts in the industry that are able to line up and do this work. There's a lot of hold-up in the summer because people are waiting for the government to give different guidance, which the RICS has sort of been doing on its website.
Yes.
Which
Marianne,
means that some people are changing their opinions now.
Yeah, Marianne, sorry to interrupt you, but I do want to just talk a little bit about your portfolio, because I understand that about a fifth of Ringley's portfolio is affected by this cladding crisis. How is that being managed by the business? How are you in yourself handling this?
Well, we were one of the earliest to get things mobilised. We just saw the need when the guidance came out in January 2000 for lightning speed, because we knew there was going to be blockages in the identification. But we'd completed all of our first round EWS1s by about May, and that meant lining up fire inspectors and lining up the testing house, and also lining up contractors to sample and take pieces of the building. As the time went on, it became not only just about the cladding, but very much about the insulation behind the cladding, and also the fire stopping, which stopped the cladding, or behind the cladding, becoming a chimney. Challenge then is, of course, that cladding isn't only what looks like cladding. We've got buildings that look like they're rendered, but the render system is actually a cladding system. And behind that, for example, on some buildings, we've got polystyrene, which is, of course, highly, highly flammable. So brick slips are cladding, render can be cladding, as well as what you'd think of cladding being sort of metallic or other plastic-looking panels. So it's been widespread.
Okay. Marianne, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Of course, this is a hugely important issue. More than 700 buildings having been identified in the UK so far with fire safety issues. We really appreciate Marianne Bowring, Group Managing Director at Ringley, for joining me on Property Portfolio, which, of course, you can hear much more of by checking out our podcast page on Bloomberg.com. Roger.
Yeah, and very briefly, Sandra, of course, it is an issue to do with the continuing fallout from Grenfell. One of the most extraordinary things is how many buildings still have 24-hour fire guards, because there is this issue of not being able to deal with the threat from the cladding. That's been pointed out by a number of MPs, in fact, and how difficult this is, and where the cost falls for that 24-hour fire guard that's going on. Anyway, thanks very much there to Sandra Kilhoff with Property Portfolio, looking at a very key issue for from the past that's still haunting the property sector. Next, we're going to talk about luxury and watches of Switzerland. We'll be talking to the CEO next. This is Bloomberg.